Hi and welcome to tonight's final piece, I suppose, in this unintentional three-piece series about being a positive change in the world, how to live life in a challenging time and feeling positive. Hi Anita and hi Haresh. Nice to have you here. I've just noticed the way the lighting is, it looks like I've got a fantastic scar over my cheek. I wonder if that's the challenge. Let me see if I can turn this round a little bit. No, not at all. Not to worry. There's the challenge. Hi Pia. Hi Ola. Saturday night, so it's a busy time for most people. And I've got no idea why I picked Saturday night, except that it just seemed to be the rhythm of what we're doing. Hi Clara, nice to have you join us. And Karen. Thanks Haresh, it's a rhythm that I suspect we're going to see more and more of as we move forward. Hi Yumiko and Cynthia. It's about using the energy as a spur for us to be active. You know, when we started at the beginning of the week, Monday night, there was a lot of energy in Hong Kong. England was starting to erupt, the UK was starting to erupt about Brexit. Tandaway was saying that in Zambia there's a lot of difficulty with the constitution and the proposed constitutional changes. And of course we had Hurricane Dorian on its way to the Bahamas. Well, it was over the Bahamas and now it's trashing the coast of America. It's actually trashing where our VA lives in North Carolina, and we haven't heard, so we're hoping all is well with her. I'd like to ask you all to send a few thoughts to her if you have time. Hi Anna, I'm glad you could join us. So Monday night, everything was very intense. By Thursday night, things had started to move. There were changes coming from Hong Kong. They're not far enough, I understand that, but they're coming from Hong Kong. There's the shift of the hurricane had gone from the Bahamas, and the Bahamas is totally trashed. Brexit's not getting any easier, but then that's been an ongoing story, and I suspect it's got a lot more energy in it before it runs its course. And of course, Zambia is also ongoing. But the energy is definitely shifted. And then by tonight, it's what did we do, if anything? That's what I want to talk about. What did we do, if anything? Hi Amanda, hi Marianne. All of us, I'm sure, took time to pause, as we discussed, to send thoughts of healing, pink bubbles. All of us stopped and looked at how we interacted with people in our day-to-day lives. And yet, did we feel we'd done enough? Or is just sending that thought sufficient? You know, for some people, knowing that you do it once, you know you've done it. That's not a personality thing. From a spiritual perspective, when we set an intent to do something, we send energy out into the universe, and that energy will follow its course and come back to us when it's completed itself. So for many of us, doing it once is quite sufficient. For others, there's a belief that we have to do it every day, sometimes every 20 minutes, to be certain that what we're doing is going to achieve its purpose. If you have a rhythm, if you have a path to follow, then you don't need to worry, and you won't worry about how effective you are, because the path and the rhythm will carry you through. Most people I've encountered have studied in various ways. You know, you've done healing, studied the tarot, astrology, numerology, a variety of tools, a variety of techniques. What I do encounter a lot is that people haven't put what they've learned into a rhythm, into a flow. It's more, well, I've done this, what's next? Let's move on to the next thing and learn that. I've got that next. What comes next? And after all these years, I guess for me, it's been the flow, the rhythm and the pattern that's been the most effective and enable me to be confident and consistent. So tonight I want to talk about whether you have a rhythm. Hi Tracy. If you have a rhythm, then when life is challenging, either for you, for somebody you know, or in the world, you have a path that you will tread, whether that's for 5 minutes, 5 hours, matters not, that in treading that path you will feel you've contributed. If you don't have a rhythm, you'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of something else, and you'll hope that that's enough. You won't necessarily have the confidence to believe that it's enough. I wonder how many of you that applies to that are watching now. Perhaps you could drop a comment in the chat box and let me know. Do you have a consistent path? Do you have a rhythm that is automatic that you follow? Each time there's a challenge, each time there's an opportunity for you to be part of the change in the world. Because if you don't, then what you have is a series of little boxes with tools in, but they're not in the same toolbox. And because they're not in the same toolbox, unless you go looking for the box it's in, you may forget that you've got it. Let's take healing. When there's something going on, for example, if we know someone who's sick, it's automatic to send a thought of healing. Hi Anita, hi Bronwyn. Thanks Tracy, you don't have a rhythm. That's good, thank you for letting me know. You know, most people send a thought of healing. And we know or we hope that that's worked. If you have a rhythm, then what happens is you step into that space automatically. And all has given me an answer here that I just want to talk about in a couple of minutes. If you have that rhythm, then the first thing you will do is you will tune in and balance your own energy. And that doesn't have to take forever. That can take 2 seconds. You can align yourself immediately. And then you do whatever kind of healing is yours that you feel comfortable doing. And you'll say thank you, and I accept that that healing has gone to that person if it's for their highest good and if you know that you've been given permission. So whatever the system is that you use, you go through that system. Then what happens is that in addition to being of service to somebody else, you're balancing and anchoring your own situation. So all has said that yes, she has a rhythm for global events, but it's less automatic for personal. Therefore, it's not a rhythm, it's a plan. And that's the difference. So for global events, you step into automatic action. A lot of people do, and that's really wonderful. But that's a plan. You plan to do that. But when it's part of your rhythm, there's no separation between what's happening to us and what's happening in the world. We do it automatically. If we don't, then we have a sense of separation between how we feel about who we are and our importance or significance and how we feel about the importance and significance of global world events. Does that clarify, Ola? It's not bad, it's just showing that there's still this little piece of separation that needs to be bridged, and for you to bridge you. Annam said that meditation's been a rhythm for her. Meditation in and of itself is not a rhythm. Not when it's about doing something in service. Meditation is our connection to all that is, and that's helping us to be attuned to all that is, to be guided, etc. But if you're there wanting to send healing out into the world, meditation's not the rhythm for doing that. That's the rhythm for you being in alignment. Thanks, glad you've got it, Orla. Okay. If you do astrology, how many of you have actually, for example, in the middle of a crisis, so when things were happening in Hong Kong, how many of you created an astrological chart for midday on the day that events were being quite traumatic, to look at the energy and to look at where that energy needed balancing? Because then you know what to do, how to do, because the chart's telling you. It's a tool you have in one of those boxes that you can fetch out and that you can use. If you do the tarot, you can put out a tarot spread for an event, usually a 3-card spread. So here's the situation, what led up to it, and what's the outcome. Or in this case, you say, here's the situation, what are my gifts, card number 2, and how do I use them? Because of course, if it's a global situation, it's not about the outcome, it's about our contribution to bringing balance into the world. I don't know if that's making sense to people. Perhaps you can let me know if you feel you can connect to what I'm saying, because to me, all of these tools that we learn have no value if we're not using them. Thanks, Orla. It is a great way to remain objective, because if we don't, we fall into sympathy, we fall into fear, we fall into judgment. Whereas if we look at the tools we've got and say, okay, what do we do? How can we be effective? If we've got a system, a rhythm, and a path, and we practice that regularly enough, it becomes automatic. When we begin our spiritual path, we're all explorers. Those of you who've done the archetypes know what an explorer is. An explorer is somebody that goes out and looks at different bits and pieces to say, do I like this? What's that about? Is there something here that can help me grow and expand? So it's important to try. That's what happened for me when I first started spiritually. I didn't intend to step onto a spiritual path, but one thing led to another, because once I did meditation, then I wanted to understand psychic energy. And then I wanted to know what was the difference between psychic energy and spiritual energy, and so on and so forth. And so my journey began, and I went through tarot to numerology to astrology, and then everything built from there. They're all pieces until we thread them together. Could say like this necklace. It's got little pearls at different points. So here's the thread of my exploration, and here's the pearl. I'm getting quite fanciful now, aren't I? And here's another pearl of wisdom that I've acquired. So unless we link them together, they're tools in a toolbox that will go rusty because we don't use them. You're right, Amanda. It is time to put it all together so that we can see, what the pieces are. When we first start on our journey as an explorer, we have things within us that interfere with our natural rhythm. So our natural rhythm says that in any given circumstance, this is who we'll be, this is what we'll do. But if events have happened to interfere with that natural rhythm, we may stop, start, or we may start something and then get distracted and go here or go there or go in a different direction every 5 minutes. Once we go beyond what interferes with our rhythm, then what happens is we're simply ourselves. We share who we are. More importantly, we create communities with other people so that we can learn who they are, so we can learn from them, so that we can build together and create. if we don't address the pieces that interfere with our rhythm, we can't create community. We may stand in a community thinking that we're part of it, but there's no cohesion. Clara says, is rhythm the same as building a habit of asking and practicing? No, that's a habit. A rhythm is the natural, perhaps we can put it this way, it's the natural vibratory frequency of who you are. If you weren't doing anything, if you weren't thinking, if you weren't feeling, which is probably a bit difficult when you try to accomplish it, but just suppose you stopped hesitating or fearing, wondering, judging, and you were just forgetting about what was wrong with you, and in the middle of doing something, your natural rhythm is what would come through. How you speak to people, if you were enjoying yourself, how you would walk, how you would talk, how you would sing or dance or laugh. That's your natural rhythm. But when we're self-conscious because of events that have occurred to us, that rhythm has missteps in it. And as an explorer, the sooner we get past the missteps, the sooner we start to see the whole landscape of what's available. More importantly, we see the divine plan, the universal plan, for what it is, and we stop judging the events and the pieces that we see, because now we can see a bigger picture. We can see that because of that bigger picture, there's work for us to do. So for me, having one toolbox and putting all the tools in it is what's really important. Those of you who've worked with me know that in any given situation, I'll use a variety of tools, because for me, they're all intertwined, interlinked. And if you've got a path that you're following, you'll put all your tools together to help you to walk that path. But if you don't have a path, you'll have a series of tools, and then what will happen is something will occur, such as the hurricane, and you'll say, now, what should I do about this one? Do I need to do this? Perhaps I'll just do healing. Perhaps I'll just meditate. There's a hesitation there. There's not a natural flow into, this is happening, this is a step for me to take. Does anybody have any questions about this? Is there anything that I'm not being clear about from where you're sitting? Because if we're moving forward to change the world, we have to anchor who we are through the foundation of what we've learned, through the wisdom of the experience we've had of using what we've learned and putting it all together so that it's almost like our own book. It's not our story, it's our book of wisdom. Our world needs change. It's changing anyway, whether we like it or not. And we have a choice. We can either fight it and try to keep everything the way it's always been, and we'll fail because it's a living being that in it and of itself is changing. Or we can start to look at how we can collaborate with those changes. I need to say, and a lot seems to happen in 1 week these days, and that's very true. Events are coming thick and fast because the energy is speeding up. There is an urgency. That's what she's asking. Is there an urgency, a push? Yes, there is. We're moving into another universal cycle of 2,500 years. And Spirit doesn't want us, the universe doesn't want us to take all the baggage from the last 2,500 years into the next 2,500 years. So the more that we can open up and link together who we are as a solid foundation, our foundation then connecting to somebody else's can make a big difference. We become a platform from which energy goes out in waves, calm and gentle waves, into the world. We use the grid. That's one of the most potent exercises, is to connect to the grid. But I'd like to give you an exercise now that's just a little bit different. So if you know what the grid is, great. You can do that at any time with any situation. If you don't, if you want to know, go and look at the Harmony 21, because that's a grid exercise. on our Facebook page. Ask anybody that you know that's already working with us and they'll tell you. But this is a slightly different exercise. So what I'd like to ask you to do is to just take a moment and feel your energy. Just sit and feel for a moment your energy as you breathe. As you breathe in, feel your heart. And as you breathe out, feel the energy you're breathing out into the world. When you breathe in, you're not breathing in global energy or mass consciousness. You're breathing in your connection to the universe. As you breathe out, you're breathing that out into the world. I want you to imagine that your bubble is filling with the light, the golden light of wisdom. Every breath in fills your bubble of energy, your aura, with the golden light of wisdom. And every breath out, you breathe it out into the world. Your own thoughts and emotions stay within your bubble, and you become a conduit for universal energy to go into the world. And just doing that simple exercise, your energy settles, becomes calmer, becomes more effective. If you want to take it a stage further, at that point you can close your eyes and you can see the planet as it's travelling through space, surrounded in a pink cloud of energy with a blue cloud of energy around it. And you breathe in golden light and you breathe it out into your world, and the world spins within a pink and blue cloud. You can do that exercise at any time and as often as you like, because each time you focus on your breath and you breathe that energy in, you shift your frequency, you shift your rhythm. In breathing in that energy, you're aligning yourself to your natural universal rhythm. And in breathing it out, you're sharing your rhythm with the planet. So it's a very quick exercise, but it's quite potent. And if any of you've got any feedback on how you felt, if you felt anything or didn't, please just let me know before I sign off. Hi Caroline, it's nice to have you join us. So, being who we are naturally, not who we think we should be, is the key to being a positive change in our world. Having a rhythm and a path is essential to make that happen. Next week we're about to launch our membership site, and I've been working on this for about 18 months, so I should be really delighted to launch it. Some of you have already seen it in bits and pieces. Thanks Amanda. Amanda found it calming and connected. Thank you. But we're going to open it up. So there's going to be a lot of material in there. There are programs, teachings from some of the retreats. There's a lot. So we'll be opening it up next week. If you're interested, let me know. We'll do more about it next week. So some of you are saying, Cynthia says she enjoyed it. Thank you. Haresh. It is calming. It's so simple. 2 or 3 minutes and the energy shifts. So I want to leave you with that. I will be doing another Facebook Live next week where I'll talk a little bit more about what we're hoping to introduce to you all. But until then, have a wonderful weekend. And if it gets frantic, just do that little breathing exercise. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.